I am now.
Just in case.
I'm recording.
Especially brilliant.
Give me in case I say something especially brilliant, it'll be recorded.
Not just somebody, not you.
Oh, okay. In case somebody else does something especially brilliant.
Broadcasting 5 seconds
That makes a lot more sense.
delay.
Okay. You guys ready? Here we go. So generally what I want to focus on is referrals, but more specifically, I want to focus on 2 referral networks that are kind of a bigger focus of our team right now. One is new in OpCity, so I want to talk through that a little bit, kind of give some tips and tricks for that. But the other, Veterans United, is not that new, but we have some new things going on with Veterans United that will probably mean we'll be getting a lot more referrals. So I want to walk through that process with both of those. So I want to start with OpCity. So I've said this to a couple people. You guys have heard this through the grapevine, but we know basically through Realtor and through our Realtor rep that OpCity and Realtor are owned by the same company, Realtor.com, where people buy leads from Realtor.com. They're owned by the same company, and Realtor is closing down their sales branches and transferring basically all the Realtor accounts over to OpCity. That's basically what's going to happen at some point. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we know in some of their test markets, it basically looks like you don't buy leads anymore. You're getting referrals and paying a referral fee. So to get ahead of the game, we decided to go ahead and join OpCity's referral network, get used to it so that we would have an advantage if and when Realtor switches over to OpCity. And if they don't, then we have another referral network good for us, okay? Now, the important thing for you guys to know about OpCity is, and this is true of Veterans United as well, both of these companies work on an algorithm-based model. What that means is they have a formula in their system that determines whether you're a good agent or not. And they have you ranked in their system based on all their predetermined factors. And the better they think you are, the more and better referrals you are going to get. All right? So this is a kiss-ass situation.
Have you worked in OpCity much yet?
Yeah. So for both of these systems, OpCity, Veterans United is a kiss-ass situation. They're not going to be the best clients. They're not going to be the best lenders, but it is a deal, and they are really good conversion rate deals. So they're probably going to close, and that's going to be the headache that you're going to have to deal with working with these people. So with either one, with OpCity, let's start there. So basically, your job is to increase your score in their algorithm so that you get more and better referrals. The way that you increase that score is a couple different things. One is actually answering their referrals. With OpCity, if you never pick up a referral, like they send you a notification, they'll stop sending you notifications. So I get it. Some of these are 80,000 or 100,000 or 150,000. If you're willing to have a conversation with those people and answer it, it's gonna be good. You don't have to take every single one, but if you go days without answering one or weeks without answering one, it's gonna hurt your score.
Also, if you don't answer one, they'll just stop and call you.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah.
They called you anyways, even if you didn't answer?
They'll just call you. If you like don't answer and they're like, you've been answering this shit all day, they'll just call you.
There you go. So
Somebody else up here having right now besides you guys?
Yeah.
you mean like
OpCity?
in Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you want to answer them. Secondarily, another thing that weighs really heavily in their algorithm is you updating them. You need to keep them updated. And this is true of both Veterans United and OpCity. They want you to use their system to update because it makes it easier on them. So with Veterans United, they have a portal link that they'll send you that you can save and access at any time. Veterans United would prefer that you update that portal versus letting the rep know. All right? And that's the same with OpCity. They want you to update the portal. They want you to update in the app. If you update the way that they want you to update, they're going to like you better. You're going to rank higher in their algorithm, So there you go. The other thing is just err on the side of update. So typically what I do with these referral companies is the moment I get the referral, the moment I try to reach out. With OpCity, it's a moot point because you've already had the conversation. With Veterans United, you may or may not have already talked with them when you get the referral because they're just sending the information over. But after first attempt to contact, whether I get a hold of them or not, I'm going to give them an update. Hey, thank you so much for the referral. I have emailed and texted and called or whatever. I'll let you know when I get a hold of them. So first and foremost, let them know right away that you've reached out via all the different methods.
I claimed something, they didn't, couldn't connect with the client. So they raised it to 102 for collecting it right away or winning it, and then randomly from back down.
If we basically left the lead and never did anything else with it and can't get a hold of it, your score's gonna go down, so at that point, you just wanna leave left go back to something else. Which they say doesn't hurt your score, but it does.
Yeah, so the idea behind any of these referral networks is one of your most heavily weighed scores is going to be your conversion rate. It's going to be the amount of referrals you accept versus the amount that you close. So there is a balance with OpCity, there's a balance in what do I take versus what am I going to close, right? You want to take deals that will close, but you don't want to say no to everything. With Veterans United, it's the opposite. You do not want to say no to anything with Veterans United. That is going to heavily hurt your score. And more than anything else, it's going to hurt your standing with those reps there. Like so I'll keep talking about OpCity and I'll talk about Veterans United. But with OpCity, that's going to be the main thing. Now, I'll just be honest that I don't know as much about OpCity. I don't know all the ins and outs. Some of you guys know that system better than I do. Some of you guys know the training better than I do. But generally, what I'm going to say about OpCity is what I've already said, which is keep their app updated at all times, accept as many of them as you can without taking, I mean, you can skip a couple if you feel like it's never going to work out. But that's what that's going to look like.
Does OpCity have like a limit, like Veterans United, you get like 3 in your portal or whatever?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Is it still like on the, how many other people are at the same time competing on OpCity with us up here to get that lead? Like,
I think
you literally have less than a second too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think there's dozens. I think there's dozens of them, like across the.
We've been
Denver.
doing pretty good though.
Mm-hmm.
Getting them, winning them.
Well, the reality is like people get fatigued with them. Like they start getting all these low dollar price and then they don't answer any, and so then they're slow to the $300,000 or $500,000 one that John had, right? And so I think the name of the game is, even if it says $80,000 or $100,000 investor, it's possible that it's a client that you're going to be able to upsell. You're going to be able to talk to them and go, oh, maybe you just literally want to write on land, sight unseen. I don't have to do anything for $80,000, right? That's going to be worth your time. Or maybe it says $100,000 investor, and in reality, yeah, that they have a hard money budget up to $300,000, but prefer to use their own cash. Okay, great. So I'm accepting them, because really what you're going to do is you're going to get in a relationship with somebody who will either close a deal with you or refer you someone that will close, right? Here's something else that I'll tell you guys. I'm just going to tell you guys this right now. A couple of you guys have told me that their video says if the referral you get refers you someone, you also pay a referral fee on that. And I'm just here to say we are not doing that. We're going to ask forgiveness on that. We're not going to try to push on that. So my inclination is their business model is to state they want you to do that so that some people actually do it.
Cool.
But don't you get like higher level people once you close 3 deals or whatever?
So the caveat to that is, if you refer someone back to OpCity, that's going to help your score. The more deals you have closed with OpCity, the better.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to play that game of, listen, I'll go ahead and refer this back, and yeah, I'm going to eat a 35% referral fee, but it's going to build my pipeline and build my score, that's up to you. That will certainly help your score if you refer deals back. Mark's question is, once assigned, Are OpCity leads exclusive to the assignee? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Unless you release them. So, what I would say with you guys is, so first and foremost, if you've not filled out or downloaded the app or have the app like set, then do that. If you're not been getting notifications through OpCity, do that. So you can start getting notifications right away. We've already had 2 or 3 appointments already happen, like attended from OpCity. We've been doing it less than a week. John's showing properties to a $500,000 buyer today in Castle Rock from OpCity. So it's legit.
So
There's
is
good
there
opportunities.
something that the rest of us aren't doing? Because it says that you get like low budget pieces of shit until you post 3. But 500 is, 500 is.
No, you can't
not
change
like-
until you get your 3. Yeah, and then they'll allow you to adjust the settings, but after you get 3 first. That's what it's done.
So they'll still send those higher ones through if they're not getting someone to answer them, right? And so like, I think,
John just looked out, like, at the drum.
yeah. Yeah, I think that someone just didn't answer that and he happened to jump on it.
Yeah.
Equatorial Guinea. Which is
Nice, nice.
so.
So, any other questions about OpCity? I want to spend most of the time talking about Veterans United because I know that better. But if you guys have other questions about OpCity, let me know. We'll probably be learning this OpCity together. So I would just really highly encourage you guys to do what you've been doing, share your wins, and share something that's working so that we can just mastermind and get better at it collectively. With all our brains around it, like we're inevitably going to figure it out quickly. So if you see something that's working, share it with somebody else, right? If you have something that, hey, don't do this, share that with everybody else. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about Veterans United because I have a lot more experience with Veterans United. I can answer any and all of your questions with that. So what we're working on right now is a more exclusive relationship with Veterans United in this market. What we've secured is basically they've agreed to increase our market share. So they've agreed to basically get everyone's account active if you're not already active, and if you are active, they've agreed to like push you guys to the top of the algorithm to get you guys the next couple of referrals, basically. So still finalizing the details of that, but so if you guys haven't gotten Veterans United referrals, you're going to start getting some, okay? Now, the thing with Veterans United is what Gigi was hinting at. So in the beginning, you'll be able to get 2 at a time. I think I'm going to talk them into giving you 3 at a time in the beginning. But in the beginning, you'll be able to get 2 or 3 at a time. You won't be able to have any more active referrals than that at a time. With Veterans United, when you close your first deal, close, not under contract, they then will increase it to 4 at a time. You can have up to 4 active referrals with them at a time. And then I'm not sure if they've adjusted the numbers now, but once you close 2 to 4 with them, something like that, then you can get up to 10 referrals at a time. And so then that's when it really starts to get fun. You start to get 10 referrals at a time. So
That's the new thing that you just did with them?
no, so the new thing I did with them is that right now you guys are all at the bottom of the algorithm. So if you're in Veterans United or not, you're probably not getting referrals. So a few of you are, some of you aren't. So the new thing that I'm doing with them is the moment, like, so they'll push you to the top of the algorithm so that all of your pipelines will get filled with 2 to 3 referrals. Then it's going to be up to you guys and your training to convert one of those so that then you naturally get your pipeline increased. So you guys are going to have to take over and convert one of those and then convert one of the next ones, get your 2 to 4 closings just naturally and build up your pipeline. This is what Matt and I have had to do. So like over the past year, Matt's gone from getting nothing to now he has 10 at a time because he's had to slowly, like, he gets a referral, converts it, gets a couple more. So what I'm going to be able to do is get your foot in the door, be able to get you guys a jump start. You guys, though, are going to have to take over, convert one of those initial leads so that then your pipeline increases to 4. And then once you're able to have 4 at a time, every single time, at least one of those 4 should convert for you, and you'll be able to keep building your pipeline like that with Veterans United. So, so again, Veterans United has an algorithm score. Here's the things that factor in with Veterans United score. First and foremost, your willingness. So first of all, your relationship with Veterans United, your relationship with the loan officer, your relationship with the referral, like person that referred it, the realty coordinator, the things that you do to make that good. You are kind to the people that are referring the deals to you. You say yes every single time. You don't turn down referrals. You don't talk negatively because of price point. Okay? Never like tell the rep, oh, 150,000, they're not going to get anything, but I guess I'll try. Okay? I had that job for 3 years, referring people. You'll be amazed how many people talk shit about the referrals that they send out. And it's to the point where they're afraid to tell you the price point because they just assume you're going to talk shit about it. So if you can have a breath of fresh air without them even saying the price point, just say, yep, I'll take it. I don't even ask for the price point. They'll tell you eventually, but I don't even ask for it. I don't want them to know, yes, I'll take it, right? So lean towards, I'll take any and whatever referral you want to send my way. Like, and the more you can just say, listen, you could just send it to me. I'm going to take everything you want to give me, just send it to me. Then what inevitably happens with these realty coordinators is it's 4 p.m. on a Friday. They want to get out of the office, but they can't leave until they attach it to an agent, and they can't attach it to an agent until they hear back from the agent. The agent's actually going to accept it. What are they going to do? They're going to call the agent they know will take it no matter what, and they'll just assign it to you and leave the office. That happened to me all the time. So you want to build rapport with them to where they know. And there's probably 15 to 20 realty coordinators in the office. You get to a point where you'll build relationships with some where they'll send them your way. But the other thing you really need to do with Veterans United is build great relationships with the loan officers, okay? Because the loan officers have the right to override the system. If the loan officer requests an agent, they have to give it to you no matter what. So I actually have 15 to 20 referrals at a time because I have loan officers that override the algorithm and give it to me no matter what because they want to work with me. So I know that it's a salary-based loan officer who doesn't know what the F they're doing. You need to have a good relationship with them. Because if you're not going to get mad at them, if you're not going to yell at them, if you're going to accommodate, figure it out, you own the process, right, they're going to screw it up. But if you can just say, okay, great, let's be solution-based, let's figure it out, then they're going to send you more referrals, okay? So your relationship score is the realty coordinator, basically accepting any referral, and with the loan officer, having a good relationship, not talking shit, updating them, asking them questions, working with them. If the client is considering another lender, letting them know right away. Even if you effing recommended the other lender, which I don't do, but even if they're like, I need to talk with another lender, who should I talk to? And you're like, well, this is a great lender, talk to them. Let the loan officer know right away. Hey, just a heads up, I think they're considering another lender. Maybe you should give them a call. All Veterans United loan officers want is just a shot at the deal. 9 times out of 10, the loan officer gives me a call or emails me and says, hey, thanks so much for letting me know. I'm not going to be able to match that other lender, so good luck. And they're fine. But if you don't communicate anything, they're going to assume that you are sneaking around behind their back and trying to refer everything to other lenders. Even if that's what you're doing, you need to be upfront with them about, hey, I think they're considering another lender. This happens a lot with builders, right? I think they're considering the builder's lender. They get it. They're probably not going to be able to match the builder. They just want you to give a heads up, right? The other thing that affects your relationship score with Veterans United is updating them, like I said with OpCity. So they would prefer, instead of letting the loan officer know or instead of letting the realty coordinator know, they would prefer that you update their portal. So the portal, it's a link that you're going to get via email 1 time a month. But you can go into that link anytime you want. So save that link, and when you log in, it'll show all your active clients. And then you say what stage of the process are they at, and you can write a note.
Now, I know before I got the Veterans United, they were probably passing your account, so they may not have sent that. That's how that. I've never seen that.
Yeah. So you will occasionally be asked to work leads that are either in Matt or my account. Because the realty coordinator, sometimes I say transfer this to this person, they say they don't have enough room, it needs to stay in your account. And so with those, I'm going to ask you for an update so I can update the portal. Okay? So that's the relationship score. Questions about that, about the relationship with Veterans United?
Do you have to go in and update your portal website thing in order to get those referrals?
What do you mean?
I feel like they've requested me to update my website or it's my information like within Veterans United.
Mm.
And I thought I did that, but I haven't received any referrals after the one I closed.
So it is, so I mean, if you got a referral and nothing changed, then you should be fine. But again, I think that's just a problem with the network is you have a decent score, but because there's so many agents in their network in Denver, you're just stuck at the bottom of the pile and you're not getting any referrals. And so that's where I'm going to try to bump you up. I'm going to tell them to optimize everyone's profile. So basically I'm going to tell them, have them fill out your profile the way it needs to be filled out so we get as many referrals as possible. So we're not going to have to mess with that. We're just gonna
Okay.
have the leads that are coming in, basically. So we'll take that off your plate too.
Thanks.
Any other questions about the relationship with Veterans United? That aspect of the score?
How much does it affect your score if they never ever get the referral check?
It's a good question. I would assume it affects it a lot, but
Yeah,
hasn't hurt you, so.
but maybe it hasn't, I don't know.
It's possible it has, you don't know. You just converted enough to offset it. Just don't worry
Kind
about
of like tolls and taxes.
Okay, so there's three aspects that affect your score in the algorithm. One, I've already said, your relationship with Veterans United. Two is very easy, your relationship with the client. They will ask the client throughout the process and afterwards if they liked you or not. So this should be a no-brainer. You guys, your clients should like you, okay? If they don't, they're not going to send you more clients, okay? And that's part of the problem that we're asking for surveys at the end of every single deal. Now, those surveys don't automatically go like to Zillow or anything like that, but if it's positive, then we ask them to fill out those referrals. If it's not, then we have a reason to follow up and figure out what's going on, right? Hopefully that helps us all to get better. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect is conversion. So the third aspect is what percentage of the deals that they're sending to you are you converting? So we'll talk about conversion here in a second, but you want to convert them as high as possible, okay?
Okay.
That's the deal.
Write it down.
Close as many as you can. Don't close lower than other people.
I didn't actually write it down.
No.
You should though. You should write it down.
Never heard of that before.
So in terms of conversion rate, here's what I suggest. This is what I use every single time, and it works. This is not a Boomtown lead. This is not a realtor lead. So what you're going to do is you are going to push for the appointment right away, every single time. So when I get on the phone, there's a couple of things that I think is important to mention. One, I say, hey, this is Tyler with Keller Williams in Denver. I clarify, I am in Denver. You've just been talking with the loan officer and this other person with this national bank, whatever. This is Tyler Shields with Keller Williams Realty in Denver. I don't say Relevate. They could give two fucks about Relevate. They care about Keller Williams. So this is Tyler Shields with Keller Williams Realty in Denver. And then I say, Veterans United referred me, I forget how to say it. Veterans United referred me to you or referred you to me. One of those two ways I say it. And mentioned you needed the help of a local VA experienced real estate agent. That's what I said, because that's the exact terminology that the realty coordinator says, is VA experienced real estate agent. That's my line every single time. Hi, this is Tyler Shields of Keller Williams Realty in Denver. Veterans United recommended me to you. They mentioned you needed the help of a local VA experienced real estate agent. And typically they'll say something along the lines of, yeah, or oh yeah. And then my response is, awesome. Typically literally, I'll just like jump right into it. Typically what I do with other clients, with other VA clients like yourself, is our first step is to sit down and chat and make a game plan to make sure you get what you want. These are military experienced people. They like the terminology game plan. It works for them. Okay? So I literally, every single time, without being overly cheesy, right, and saying this is the mission, you know, is just say, I do that kind of peer pressure thing. Most of my clients at your stage of the process, our first step is to sit down over a cup of coffee or a beer and chat, make a game plan to make sure you get what you want. Do you live here locally? If the answer is no, okay, then let's just schedule a phone call to go over it. Or will you be coming out soon? If the answer is yes, then I say, oh great, where in the Denver metro area do you live? If it's not Littleton or close by, then I choose something close to them. I set the appointment either within this week or next, and that's that. It doesn't matter if they're a year out or 6 months out. I rarely ask them questions about the process. I rarely dig in deeper. Literally just set the appointment and then move on. They don't want to have a 5-minute conversation, most likely. They just talked with a loan officer longer than they expected. They talked with a realty coordinator longer than they expected. They want to set the freaking appointment and be done with it. So that's what I would recommend. You set the appointment, and I have never had, I don't think I've ever had someone cancel on me, ever. And I'm not really even like following up that crazy or anything like that. I set the appointment, and that's it. And what am I setting the appointment? The exact buyer appointment script. I created that script around VA buyers. So I use the exact buyer appointment guide for the appointment, and that's that. The only thing with the VA clients when you're on the appointment that I would say, whether they have questions or not, you are going to go through the entire financial document in the buyer appointment guide. Whether they have questions or not, because if you say, do you have questions about financials? No, I don't think so, because they think they don't pay anything. The loan officers do not go through all the financials with them. They run their credit score, they look at their income, and they say, congratulations, you're qualified. They don't say, oh, by the way, there's these closing costs, and there's this earnest money, there's this inspection, and there's this appraisal. They don't say that. So when you do your appointment, whether they have questions or not, you're going to slide that financial document across the table. You're going to walk through everything, including the earnest money, including inspection, including appraisal, including closing costs. What you need to say around those things is, earnest money is negotiable. We can write it as low as $500, but just understand, the lower it is, the worse your offer is going to look. But the line I use all the time is, but I'm here to work with your financial situation. So if you can only do 500, we'll only do 500. But the more you can do, the better. Closing costs, I explain what they are. So the good news is we can ask the seller to pay for those. But I say, but keep in mind, when I literally walk them through the math just to make sure they understand. But keep in mind, if we're asking the seller to pay $5,000 in closing costs and it's listed at $300,000, then the seller is going to net $295,000. So if we want the seller to net $300,000, we're going to have to offer $305,000 and ask for $5,000 in closing costs. I walk them through that every single time because they do not understand it. Okay? They also believe the appraisal is the inspection. So you're going to have to explain that to them as well. Yeah, there's an appraisal that you have to pay for. We don't have an option on that. They do look at some conditions, but not a lot. So I highly recommend, although it's not required, that you also get your own private inspection. Okay? Some of the VA guys will be like, yeah, no, thank you. Just, I don't need an inspection. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But you recommended it, right? You need to recommend it, yeah, in writing. They'll actually, that buyer acknowledgement of inspection home warranty will be enough. When they sign that, that'll be writing enough to acknowledge you chose not to get an inspection, right? So that's what that appointment looks like. But literally, guys, if you have that conversation on your initial phone call, if your appointment looks like that, and then you say, and you take it from there, you should convert these at 30 to 40%. That should be the conversion rate. What questions do you have about those things to make sure you maximize your conversion with those VA clients?
Just go over again what you're doing if they're not yet here.
Great question. A lot of times they are relocating. And so what I will say is I say, oh, okay, you're not here. Do you plan to and this is a question I'll ask every time. Some of these people will buy sight unseen. They're used to that. So I will say, do you plan on making a house hunting trip out, or do you plan on helping me help you buy sight unseen? I'll ask that question every single time. Usually they're making a trip out. Occasionally it's sight unseen. Regardless of what their answer is, if they're coming out and it's quick enough to where we could just do an appointment then, I'll set the in-person appointment for then. But if it's going to be a while, then what I'll say is, well, what I'd like to do is schedule a time for us to have a little bit deeper conversation so we can talk about what you're looking for and make a game plan to help you get what you want. I will almost never have that conversation right then. I will schedule an appointment like any other appointment, but I'll just do it over the phone. And I'll still do the same appointment script. Same thing, just a separate phone call, because a lot of you are going to be tempted to have that conversation on the first phone call. But when you schedule a second appointment and then get them on the phone for a second time and have the appointment then, you're deeper in the relationship than just we had one phone call. Okay? So I think it's really valuable that that first phone call be quick and you get them to the second one. Just trust that they're not going to blow you off on the second one. It almost never happens. This is not the same for leads, so don't take the same process with leads. This is different than leads, so you guys just need to understand that. And so that's why I want to go deep on this, because this is going to be different than what you're doing for Boomtown leads and things like that. It's the opposite. These guys are going to be faithful. Like they're just going to do it. So I'll set a phone appointment. If it's a scenario where I'll be out in a month, then what I'll do is I'll set a buyer appointment, but I will have a little bit of a deeper conversation with them right then. Well, let's at least get your criteria so I can send you over some properties. So, like, I want something to be dripping on them, you know, and so, dripping on them?
We all.
Drip. So I think an e-alert is a good way to do that. If you're somewhere in the middle of, like, we'll do an appointment, but it's 2+ weeks out, okay, great. Then I don't know if I need a phone appointment now, but I need something. And so let me get some basic criteria, and I'll set you up on e-alerts just to kind of wet your whistle a little bit. While you drip on them. Okay, what else about the conversion rate? I mean, about conversion. Does that make sense? Okay. I promise you, the buyer appointment guide, like that buyer home guide with all those questions answered, and the way that I do my buyer appointment, it was built for these buyers. If you follow it to a T, it will work, and you will convert 30 to 40% of the time. I promise.
Is there anything specific that Veterans United is offering them for going through them?
Yes. I'm glad you asked, David. But wait, there's more. If they close just with us, they get some money after closing. And it's based on price point. If they close with us and the lender, they get more money, and it's a credit at closing. And so there's a chart in our relevateteam.com, in our agent manual, under lead generation, referrals, Veterans United. It shows their purchase power plan, or whatever they call it, and it shows you their grid. If you work with, if they use Veterans United as the loan officer and us as the agent, under 200,000 is $500 credit, 250 is $625. 300 is $750, under 300 to 400 is $1,000, 500 is $1,250, 750 is $1,875. So that really strong price point for us in our market is the 300 to 400. When they're between 300 and 400, which is a lot of them, they'll get $1,000, which is significant for that price point. $1,875 is not super significant for $750,000. If you guys get a $750,000 Veterans United lead, then fuck you, because I've never gotten that.
What's the 400, 500?
$1,250. It's only $250 more. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing.
Well, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is their closing cost so much?
Yeah. First of all, just to state it, Veterans United closing costs will be more expensive than most any other lender that you're going to work with. One, because there's a flat 1% origination fee every single time. 1% is what they're charging to give to the loan officer and the company to do the loan. There's a lot of local lenders that aren't going to charge a full 1% origination fee, especially to VA buyers. So there's that. Secondarily, though, there's just going to be a lot of costs around the processing fee and the underwriting fee, and all those various costs are just going to be a little bit more expensive with veterans union. Yeah, their total cost with them is going to be something like 3%. But one clarification point is, I almost never have to ask for more than 2% in concessions. The reason is because, and the loan officers will tell you it's 3%. In reality, it's 2% because they never factor in our market, the buyers get a credit at closing from the seller to offset property taxes. And so that's going to offset some of those closing costs. Along with this credit, along with the earnest money deposit they're putting down, even if they have $1,000 earnest money deposit and you get 2% in concessions, they should not have to come to the table with anything. Okay? They will tell you 3, you should be good with 2. Now, Arizona, I'm not 100% sure how you guys treat property taxes, so I'm not sure if that's true for you guys or not. But
I'm just trying to get a job working for Veterans United with those.
Hey, I feel you, man. I'll just let you know that the loan officers do not get all that 1%. I know that for a fact. So, but they do get enough of it that if you want to push them to give a credit to get a deal done, they can, because they have some margin. So you really need to get a deal done. Now, if you're saying, listen, something happened, so you need to give all your money, that's not as likely as if it's a recent scenario Mark had trying to save a Veterans United deal. Hey, I'll give it $1,000. I can maybe get $1,000. If you can give $1,000, we'll be good to go. You know. So in that scenario, if you're coming to bat with the other people, there's a good chance that they will get.
No,
There ain't no skin in the game on that.
No,
Yeah, squeeze them on.
Squeeze them, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's their money. Like everyone wants to make 75% of something instead of 100% of nothing. So they feel you, and they have a salary. So for them, it's like, I just prefer a close. And they have all sorts of sales metrics that it really matters a lot that they close that extra deal more than just the money from that deal. They get bonuses and stuff based on how many deals they're closing. So they're going to want the deals to close. So they'll get some skin in the game. But to just let you guys know, like, the big issue with this that you guys are already seeing and you guys understand is that Veterans United is just not a great lender. I'm sorry, it's just not great. They're salary based. They might miss stuff. They might not explain stuff well. They might not pre-approve well. So you guys need to come in as but like literally, you guys should do this anyways. You guys are just spoiled with some great lenders that have never failed you. But you guys need to own the entire process every time anyways. Yeah. It's your job to make sure that they're actually pre-approved. It's your job to make sure that it's clear to close. And obviously you have Tara and them helping to ask those questions. So Tara is helping you guys to own that, and Pam. But you guys need to help just own the process. And so just, if your mindset is, well, it's all Veterans United's fault, then that's going to be hard. Sometimes it is their fault, but we just got to deal with what we got to deal with and move on, right? Understand, like, honestly, it's the same idea for me. I would rather have a headache of a deal and try to get it closed than never have a headache at all and not have that deal. So with Veterans United, you're signing up for headaches, you're signing up for a more complicated process, but you're also signing up for a 30 to 40% conversion rate that you wouldn't have otherwise. So just understand that's what we're sacrificing. Okay? Trying to figure out what else I need to say. Okay. Oh, this is something JP and I talked about yesterday. JP gave me a call. We really chatted through this. The inevitable scenario that either your client wants to talk with another lender or you know it is in your client's best interest to talk with another lender. Okay? What do? Right? So, first of all, I think that this starts with you guys actually believing Veterans United is a good lender in some senses. Veterans United, 95% of what they do is the VA loan. They know the VA loan well. They have no stigma around the VA loan, and many other lenders, they will like talk shit about VA loans. They'll do them for cheap, but they'll talk shit about them. So Veterans United will never do that. They'll always respect the veterans. There's a lot of veteran and military that work for Veterans United. I believe they're a good company. I think they're a great company. So I make sure that the client knows that. I love Veterans United. I think that they do a great job for clients. I think they really care about veterans, but they're not always going to be the cheapest. So if you want that kind of higher cost, but like concierge to veterans, that's Veterans United. If you want to explore cheaper options, they're out there. And that's kind of the conversation I have. Basically, it needs to be their idea that they want to talk with another lender. And that's fine for you to say, hey, I do know someone, here's their contact information, but you need to balance it with, you can go with Veterans United and here's the benefits and I think they're great. But there's other options too. And that's up to you if you want to explore that. And if the client pushes, yes, I'd like to explore it, okay, here's someone you can call. In that scenario though, immediately, I'm letting the loan officer know at Veterans United. Even if I recommended them, I'm letting them know, hey, as a heads up, I think the client is unhappy about this, closing cost, interest rate, their approval amount, whatever. I think the client is unhappy about this. I think they're looking into some local lenders. I just want to give you a heads up. That alone will save most of the relationship with Veterans United by simply doing that. So
you bring up other lenders possibly are cheaper at like your first appointment, or you wait a while, or when you does that come up in conversation?
I never bring it up unless it becomes necessary to bring it up. Don't make it part of your process to just present to them, hey, there's these other lenders. If you never receive any headache, you get them a contract and it might cost a little bit more, but that's who they chose and that's who referred me. So I'm not going to present the other options. I'm not going to give someone an objection if they don't have an objection. That's the most important thing for you guys to know. Don't give the buyer an objection about the lender if they don't have an objection about the lender, right? In JP's scenario, the lender is like reducing their qualification amount, lower than what other lenders could get them, asking for 3% in closing costs, like all this kind of various stuff that basically if they talk with another lender, they're going to be able to level up to a price point that they won't be missing out to cash investors. And so it just makes all the difference in the world to the client JP's talking with. And the client said, man, I just wonder if there's some other options out there for me. Ding, 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 that's been the, you know what, there are. Here's why Veterans United's good. Here's someone else to talk to. You make the decision what's best for you.
Don't forget, they're also trying to tell them they need to buy a smaller house.
Yeah, for sure. That was the first time I'd ever heard JP said they were limiting the square foot that the client could buy because they're factoring in cost of
14 cents a fucking square foot.
Cost of like maintaining the house or something into the pre-approval.
Yeah.
I've never ever heard of that.
They called me yesterday.
Bullshit.
It's like $500 extra a year to maintain it, and that like $25 over in percentage or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has got to be some new regulation because I have closed 20 plus deals with them and I've never heard that before. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I ever like recommended that they shop around and get other opinions, was because it was a difference of like $5,000 that was going to keep her out of this house.
Yeah.
And so, and she didn't even go with someone I recommended. She went a whole other direction, but it was still in her financial best interest.
Yeah. Yeah. And even then, so first and foremost, let's create some rules around referring to another lender. First and foremost, it must be in their best interest, meaning they are not going to be able to get a home if they don't move elsewhere, right? They're not going to be able to get what they need unless they move elsewhere. That's the first rule. And second rule, still, even then, it should be their idea, not yours. You shouldn't have to push them into it.
This is strictly for Veterans United,
Mm-hmm.
not for OpCity.
OpCity, I don't know if they have a
They're supposed to have
lender or not.
lender partners, they're
They
supposed
would
to
do
do them.
lender.
But Referral out.
Yeah.
So you have no idea who it's going to be.
So the difference in that is OpCity wants to make money on that lender referral they sent as well. But Veterans United, these referrals are coming from the lender. You know, like the lender sent this person to you. It would literally be like Tom or your preferred lender sent you somebody and you're like, fuck Tom, don't work with him, work with this person over here. You guys would never do that. That's the equivalent of this Veterans United. The lender said, here, please work this person for me. And then we're saying, no, don't work with him, go work with this person over here. That's the scenario. That's how you need to treat it and assume it. Yeah. So, does that make sense? Okay. What other questions you guys have about Veterans United or Veterans United referrals?
If you were the listing side and a buyer came to you with a Veterans United pre-qual, would you as a listing agent do everything you can to try and get them to switch lenders?
No.
You would still accept it?
No.
It's still accept it?
No, if they're like, I've not had many scenarios where we are into the deal and the deal just can't get done, right? So like, I trust that they'll get it done. And honestly, more often than not, Veterans United is getting it done quick. Like they're closing these deals in less than 4 weeks for me a lot of times. So I think that if they're pre-approved, they're pre-approved with Veterans United. But if they're only pre-qualified, they're only pre-qualified. So when they get referred to you, they're pre-qualified, right? So you need to understand if they're pre-qualified, then that's just the initial. If they're pre-approved, then they're, for the most part, good to go. I've had the occasional. Mark, unfortunately, had basically his first one fall apart. But I will say, just know the difference with Veterans United between pre-qualified and pre-approved. Pre-approved is usually good to go, usually. I've not had many fall out of pre-approved. Unless the client just lied about something, you know. So. Or they went and bought
Are
something.
they usually still active D, or is it kind of like after?
It's probably, I would say it's a mix, like 50-50 probably are still active duty or just recently out. But most of them that I've worked with are younger. They're not older families. They're either just out of the military but still in their 20s or 30s. Occasionally there's the older people that served a long time ago. A lot of these people, though, have never used their VA benefit before. Veterans United spends a lot of money to have the corner on VA eligibility on Google or VA loan. You search anything about, I'm curious about my VA eligibility, it'll take you to Veterans United Home Loans, basically. So a lot of these people are like, I just never used it before. I was just looking into it, and now, boom, 20 minutes later, I'm pre-qualified. So that's the idea there. For me.
Would you say, so I've had one guy in my pipeline for probably like 6 months now that he's 6 months of employment before he's eligible. What do I do with that person? Just put it in there?
So they have a hold. They have a hold. What did they tell you what status you were supposed to choose for that? There's like a hold on there. So depending on the status you choose, if it's someone that's like 6+ months out, they have a category where they'll technically take it out of your pipeline, or they won't count it against you, and they'll send it to their hold team that will follow up for you until that person's ready. So that's what you want to do with them, is say like, and if you can't find the exact thing in there that says hold, like make your note or email your realty coordinator. This is a person that's on hold. They won't be buying for another 9 months or 6 months. And then that should clear up a spot in your pipeline. That's something new they've done recently. It didn't used to be like that. People used to be like, take them out, take them out, take them out. And Veterans United's like, no, I still want them assigned to you, but you're right, you should be able to get another referral. And so this is their happy medium. And they have a team that just focuses on those holds. So they have realty coordinators that all they do is call the 6+ month people to try to reactivate them for you. So
now the leads are going to be coming to us personally on top of, okay.
Yep.
So I have someone who's going to be a holder, his wife is holding on, his ex-wife is holding on to a property they own, making him not eligible to qualify, and she's refusing to give it up. So he's dealing with lawyers and stuff right now.
Yeah.
Where's that baseball at?
Yeah.
Figure out.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, when you're working with these VA buyers, it's important that you know some things about a VA loan that other people don't know. What you're going to find in our market is there's a lot of ignorance around VA loans. Literally, I was in a fight with someone on some lender's comment section that posted recently because this person was like, yeah, VA loans just never appraise. I'm like, there's no difference in the value that they come in from a VA loan to a conventional loan. And so,
You're just writing shit offers.
yeah, exactly. She said, well, I just had one that appraised, she said, I just had one that appraised $23,000 low. I said, that's not the appraiser's fault.
Yeah.
If you're offering on a home that's $23,000 over what it's worth, you're not running comp. It's not the appraiser's fault. So one thing that's a common misconception. First of all, you can use your VA benefit more than once. Okay, a lot of people think you can only use it once. You can use it as many times as you want, and you can have two VA loans at the same time. A lot of people don't know that. You can have two VA loans at the same time, as long as the total of that loan amount does not exceed the VA loan limit for that county. So you're allowed to get up to a certain amount in loans for depending on what county you're in. In Colorado, it's higher than the national average. So in a lot of our counties, it's over $500,000. That's the VA loan limit. So if they have a $150,000 property in Florida, they want to come out here and buy a $350,000 property. If they can qualify to hold on to that property financially, they can have both those VA loans at the same time. That's a common misconception.
Can you give us like a checklist of common questions for VA and answers to them? Because, or like just like a bullet point.
Yeah, we can try to work something out.
That'd be awesome. That way, like quick reference.
Mm-hmm. They most likely won't ask you these things, but it's important for you to know if they come up on behalf of your client.
Right.
I know in like New Mexico, for instance, we have a tax service fee that's stupid. Not allowed to pay it on a deal.
Yeah.
Something so up here like that.
Well, so the good thing about Colorado is we don't have any fees like that. So in a lot of other states, a pest inspection is required for a VA loan. We don't need pest inspections in Colorado, and the buyer's not allowed to pay for the pest inspection. It has to be the seller, like termites and stuff like that. You have to check for that. So if a loan officer says, please get the pest inspection, you can say, we don't do pest inspection in Colorado. The other thing they might ask for is for you to sign a VA amendatory clause. It's a separate paper that basically states that the buyer can cancel at any time because of appraisal. We never need to sign that in Colorado because that is already in our contract to buy and sell. So if they ask about a pest inspection or they ask about a VA amendatory clause, you don't need to execute those. You'll occasionally get something stupid like the underwriter's like, I'm going to need all parties to initial the bottom of every single page of the contract. I've had to do that like 5 times. I'm trying to think if there's any other VA stuff.
Would you say they're generally more picky on appraisals in terms of property condition than conventional?
No.
They're usually more liberal.
That's the thing. People used to think that VA appraisers were more picky from a conditions perspective, but I would say FHA is the worst right now, and conventional appraisers are getting picky on conditions now too. I've had conditions pop up on every type of loan. So conditions are not, that's another common misconception. People think only VA appraisers are looking for conditions. Every appraiser is looking for conditions, and they're not really that much more strict on VA than anything else. What you will find though, and I think Mark maybe had this experience too, because I'm pretty sure we've talked about this. It's like all the VA appraisers go to a conference every year, or they like take their CE credits for a year, and like they use some example like this year we're really going to care about decks. So every time you're going to call out a bad deck, you know, or like in the next year it's going to be like it's going to be railing on stairs more than 3, or the next year it's going to be peeling paint or whatever. Like every year it feels like there's some other new random thing that they care about, but they don't care about the previous thing anymore. So there might be some random crap they pop up with, but that's kind of the same. Yeah, he agrees. They have a different every year. So you may have that pop up, but that's the same for a lot of different appraisers. So, yeah.
And having not worked with a VA client, like actually going through the process, what are the biggest challenges with VA loan?
The biggest challenge with a VA loan is just simply that the buyer is not going to have a lot of money on hand. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, they usually cash for upfront, so sometimes you might have to get costs covered up from the seller, be reimbursed through credit from buyer flows and shit like that.
Yeah, so I mean, like, the worst one I had was that the client, I think we did $250 earnest money. Somehow the lender agreed to have them pay the appraisal at closing. and out of the closing costs that the buyer was giving, or that the seller was giving, and he didn't do an inspection because he couldn't afford it. And so he bought a house for $250 out of pocket, but because he got a credit at closing, he walked away with more than his earnest money at closing. He actually made money to buy the house.
If I'm not, they can buy it 103% of the value, but, right, because they're low, rolling in their costs.
So what they roll in is they roll in the funding fee.
Right.
So the loan amount is usually higher than the purchase price because VA loans have a funding fee. It's an amount they just add to the loan so that they don't have mortgage insurance in their monthly payment. That's an advantage of a VA loan is financing $3,000 or $4,000 over 30 years of the loan is a lot cheaper per month than a $200 to $300 mortgage insurance payment every month. So their payment per month is cheaper in that regard on the amount financed. So, okay. Basically, if you guys have questions about Veterans United, ask me. I have been a Veterans United Realty Coordinator. I've closed a lot of these deals. The idea is if you can just do it the way they want to do it and deal with their BS, then you will get more referrals. And the last thing I'm going to say is if you get a VA client and you refer them to Veterans United as a lender, you don't pay a referral fee, but it will help your algorithm a bunch. So if you do happen to have a VA loan and you at least give them Veterans United as one of the people to contact every single time, then when you refer someone to Veterans United, I think they give them a free appraisal and they'll also give them some other stuff. So it's a pretty easy deal to refer them and it's going to help your network score a lot. So it's just a recommendation.
What is the referral fee?
28%. 28%.
Cities.
OpCity, 35% on most deals you'll be doing with OpCity.
Now, do Veterans United say that or they don't switch any day in the app?
They don't. They don't. Not yet. I think they're working on one.
Yeah, like,
So they do have Veterans United Home Loans has an app called the Agent Edge or something app, which allows you to see updates on where your clients are in the loan process. It's not going to allow you to update the portal, but it will allow you to see is the appraisal in, or you can directly download pre-approval letters from that app. So the Agent Edge app. So, all right, guys, go get them. Let me know if you guys have questions on these.
Thanks.
Adios.
underrated.
Referrals are underrated.
Pearls.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Women don't like it.
JP, did you talk?
Yes. Yeah, I gotta get you the number.